So I started affiliate marketing maybe 6 years ago. I have a programming background. I discovered niche websites on Reddit, so I gave it a try. And my first website was a review style website, and that's what I was first introduced to. So I thought that was the only way to do affiliate marketing online was to do review websites. I didn't know anything else, and I had a pretty successful website doing that from the previous interview I had with you. And I actually sold that at the beginning of the year. So now I run two smaller sites, and I've been getting more into ads lately. And I realized review websites are becoming more competitive, and they're not as enjoyable for me. So I'd be much rather writing informational content. So that's a switch I've gone to right now.
Awesome. And when you sold the site, can you give us a couple details? I don't know if you could share the actual amount or how old the site, just a couple little highlights there would be cool.
Yeah, the site was 5 years old. I sold it for mid five figures with a broker, investors.club. So that's a shout out for them.
Okay, cool.
They actually have pretty low fees and handle everything well.
All right. It's crazy how many different marketplaces and brokers there are out there because once you start poking around, there's a ton of them. Although a lot of times we just hear about some of the big players like Empire Flippers, FE
Mhm.
International, Motion Invest is out there as well, serving like a different part of the ecosystem there. So very cool. And when you started the site, were you thinking, hey, I may eventually sell it, or what made you go that route to unload it at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I actually decided, well, I thought about selling it a year prior before I actually did, and I thought I would hang on to it to get the extra year earnings. Unfortunately, it started going downhill, so I don't know if it would have made a difference.
Sure.
But I got tired. It started going downhill, and I got tired of working on it, and I figured if I didn't want to work on it anymore, I might as well sell it.
Very cool.
Yep.
I encourage people to check out the previous interview. We talk a little bit more in depth about that site, but let's move on to the site that you spawned up. So you mentioned, you were getting maybe a little bored with the review type sites, and you and I both work with Ezoic in some capacity, and they're big on display ads as a software platform, really. And I imagine that helped influence you to give it a try. But are there any other reasons why you were thinking, hey, I want to move away from these just standard affiliate sites?
Mostly the competition. Informational sites you can rank without backlinks a lot easier because everyone is going after reviews, especially the big players with budgets. And if you don't want to link, I didn't want to play the link building game, so I decided not to.
All right. And just out of curiosity, is it in a category area, a niche where you potentially could add product reviews in the future, or is it not really lending itself to that area?
Yeah, there's definitely room for affiliate. There's actually a lot of products in my niche, and I just haven't done any reviews yet for them.
Awesome. So that's a great way to set it up, I think. So let's move into your keyword approach because I imagine that's sort of like the root of what's going on here. So just take us through that thought process.
I like to focus on low competition keywords, and I actually use Google Autosuggest to type in random parts of questions. Um, like if you go on Google and you type in "why do dogs," you'll see a whole list of suggestions, like why do dogs eat grass, why do dogs bark so loud, things like that. And once you get in the habit of searching for things, you can. I got to redo this.
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
What was the question? What was my approach?
The overall approach to like the keywords, and I mean you were doing perfect, and then yeah you were like why do dogs blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so if you type in questions into Google Autosuggest, like why do dogs, and then up will come suggestions like why do dogs eat grass, why do dogs bark so loud, and after a while you can get the hang of what to look for, and when I find something, I look at the top 10 search results. And what I'm looking for is user-generated content. So these are sites like Quora or Reddit or forums. And the reason why these are indicators of low competition is because these are pages that are not specifically optimized for SEO. And the fact that they're ranking and they're not specifically optimized means it's low competition. So I like to find these question-based phrases that are low competition to go after. And I realized that even some really basic questions that some people might think are stupid can rank really well. And the reason is because there's a lot more beginners in niches than experts. And beginners usually have a lot more simple questions in a niche. So just some examples, can I drive my car without a gas cap? Like just if you're a car mechanic, that's an obvious question. Never driven a car before, you might not know the answer to that.
Okay, gotcha. And that totally makes sense. I mean, with you and I both produce content in the internet marketing space, and there's basically the whole world doesn't know about internet marketing and affiliate marketing and SEO, but the people that are in the ecosystem, people that are in the profession, I mean, they're experts and they would not ask like, hey, what's a keyword? But other people, that's probably a pretty common question out there. So, okay, and you're going after not like what's a keyword, because that would actually be potentially fairly competitive. You're going after like fairly obscure topics. So you're looking for user-generated content in the SERPs. Any other things that you're looking for?
Search intent, there might not be any user-generated content in the SERPs, but if none of the search results are actually addressing the question, that's an indicator too of low competition. I try to figure out search volume as well. I use Keywords Everywhere Chrome extension for this, and it's sometimes hit or miss. Sometimes I've ranked for keywords, but they don't bring in much traffic. So you kind of have to use your brain sometimes too about what's a sensible question to go after.
Okay. And with the user intent, that would be, where maybe a bigger site has a lot of authority. Let's just say like New York Times is ranking for some term, but they're clearly not even talking about whatever the search phrase is. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, that would be a great example of a low competition keyword where authority sites aren't specifically addressing the query.
And I guess, do you have any like specific examples where you then publish something specific, like why do dogs eat really green grass, and then you found, oh, you did displace this very high authority or several high authority sites with that term just because you were actually going after the searcher's intent?
I can't think of any specific examples, but
Okay.
if I looked through, I may be able to find some.
Yeah, that was a bad question. I think it happens, and I know I field a similar question where people are like, okay, there's this site, there's like 10 sites that are all, very well established. They're 5 years old. They're all like news kind of sites or something really authoritative. How could my site rank? And usually I'm just like, you got to try it. I can't tell you exactly if you're going to do it or not, but if you test it out at some volume, like you're going to be able to probably outrank if you're going after that searcher's intent. Mm-hmm. So, okay, great. Going deeper into keywords, are there any others, any other types of keyword phrases that you really like? You mentioned, questions here, but are there others that you find that you get real good traction with?
Questions mostly. For my review style website, I found comparisons to be actually really well. If you're reviewing skateboards, and there's a lot of different kinds of skateboards, so there's more opportunity to compare two products together that someone hasn't done before specifically with those two specific products together. So that works well when there's a bigger variety of products in your niche.
All right, cool. And that totally makes sense as well. I know when I've looked for, I'm into cameras and stuff, and I was trying to compare various lenses, of which there are a lot of them. There are older versions, there are newer versions, there's other manufacturers. So all of a sudden, if you just have like one focal length, one specific sort of lens that you're looking at, you may have, 6, 8 permutations of that like focal length. So I'm getting deep into the camera stuff, but yeah, I can see how that could explode if you have a lot of different accessories and products and stuff like that. Okay, very good.